Edit mode is going to be our starting place for fixing photographs in this series, and if you've viewed my Beginner's Guide to Photoshop Elements video series, you'll know that whilst the guided and quick edit modes don't offer the freedom you get in the full editing environment, which of course we'll be seeing much more of later on in the series, they do allow us to make some substantial edits with very little know-how and expertise. That's because they provide detailed instructions and user-friendly panel layouts to guide users through several different and very interesting, I must say, tasks and effects, a few of which we'll be looking at over the next few videos. What we're going to do first though is look at how we get there and how you can explore the workspace on your own. I'm already in the organizer of Photoshop Elements 10 and I'm going to open up the image of the guard at Buckingham Palace by making sure it's active in the window and then coming up and clicking the down facing arrow on the Fix tab and selecting the guided photo edit. Now what we've got here is a selection of common edits that the software will guide us through. So the idea is that we don't need any particular knowledge at this stage to make some fairly profound adjustments to our photographs. You'll see that we have our images on the left side, and by the way, if the project bin down here is extended, simply double left click the header to collapse it out of view. We don't need that around here at the moment because we're not dealing with multiple photographs. Over on the right side we have our guided edits, all of which will make an adjustment to the image we have on the left. So starting at the top we've got our basic edits, so that's things like cropping, rotating, straightening and sharpening our photos. I'll come back to cropping and straightening in just a few moments. Next up we have a number of advanced edits, including a guide for editing a photo from start to finish, touching up imperfections such as the obligatory dust on the camera lens, recomposing a photo, which means changing its dimensions without changing the physical appearance of it. We've also got fixes for lens distortion and some handy portrait effects too. And by the way, we'll see many of these adjustments later on in the course, many of which we'll be applying in the full editing environment for maximum flexibility and control. We've got a spectrum of colour and lighting adjustments, both of which we have complete chapters dedicated to later on in the training, by the way. So we've got a whole chapter on tone and lighting, and we've got a whole chapter on colour coming up. But such is their importance in fixing photos, they're also included here. We've then got one lens effect, which we'll be exploring in a few videos' time. We've got some photography effects, which can work out nice on some images, not so nice on others. You'll have to experiment there to see what they do to particular photos in your library. Then there's a section called Photo Play, where we look towards the world of special effects ultimately, and the likes of which we might put on posters and cards and stuff like that. Photo Merge is up next, and we'll definitely be coming back to this later on in the series as it contains some really good options for combining multiple images into just one. And then finally there's the action player, which we won't be exploring in this movie. To give you a sense of how the stuff works, we're going to straighten and then crop this fairly wonky photograph of a guard at Buckingham Palace, one that I took a few years ago now. So our goal will be to straighten it up and then crop away any unwanted details. So without any further ado, let's get started.